Hey everybody, you have joined me on fall motorcycle cleaning day before winter gets here and salt gets all over everything, 2024. Now I just decided I needed to take a day to clean the bikes and get everything all spick and span before winter does get here. Because once everything gets freezing, it's more difficult to clean these. And I don't have a hose or anything like that, so I just use buckets. I have to keep running inside and getting buckets of water to wash and rinse. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. That's why I didn't film me actually doing it. There might be a couple of little shots I can throw in on B-roll. But state of the bikes, both the GT is fine. Nothing wrong with that. That's been doing perfect. The Halcyon, I actually had two parts fail on the Halcyon, and they were minor, so nothing big. First was the horn. First time I've ever had a horn fail on a bike. This is bike number 29, so it took me 29 bikes before I got one that had a horn that didn't work. And honestly, I can't say that it failed on me because I don't think I actually tested it when I bought the bike. I think just a couple of days ago was the first time I ever actually hit the horn button just to see if it worked. And it did not. So I don't know if it was actually working when I got it or not. I can't say. The other one was, I was going to take the bike on a camping trip. I had it loaded up with all the camping gear, the new Super Patriot bags, everything ready to roll, going out into the wilderness for a camping trip. And I got up to the Blue Ridge Parkway and I decided to stop because that was going to be the cutoff point for me having cell phone service. Past the Blue Ridge Parkway, I was going to be no service for the duration. So I figured I'd stop there, answer some texts and emails and comments on YouTube and things, before I ventured off into no cell service zones. And while I was up there, I happened to notice that I had an oil leak coming from my valve cover. And I was like, what the hell is this? And it just so happened that one of the people I was replying to just so happened to be Devin Beek from Motocult. So I'm like, hey, what's the is wrong with my freaking bike? So we stood up there and kind of diagnosed it a little bit and determined I should check the PCV valve. And sure enough, that was a no-go. That had failed. And so that was causing a pressure buildup in the crankcase, and the path of least resistance for the air to escape was the valve cover. And so that resulted in having a split valve cover. And so since I had that off, I went ahead and did the service on it, did the valves, and did an oil change and everything. And I've kind of got the valve cover kind of jerry-rigged up with some RVT at the moment while I wait for a new one. And that's another issue too. I'll get to that. So I've eliminated the PCV valve is what I've done because I want this bike to be stone reliable. So anything like that fails, a little bullshit part like that, I want to eliminate it if possible. So I did. I eliminated that, just ran a vent hose with a filter out the back with the other vent hoses. So I shouldn't have that problem anymore. The thing I was going to mention was if you buy anything from Janus or even Motocult, don't expect to get it anytime quickly. They're small companies. They do things a little bit different. Like my seat, I ordered that almost 3 weeks ago. Still haven't heard anything about it. But they have to have it made. So they have to put some kid on a horse or something, send him out to an Amish guy's shop out on his farm where they get all the leather work done and physically pass him a note, I suppose. I mean, I don't know how the Amish receive emails and things like that. I ordered a fishtail exhaust cover for the Halcyon because I wanted it. I think it looks really nice. I ordered the Motocult one over the Janus one simply because I like the look of the Motocult one. I think the Janus one is more like period correct if you're going for that aesthetic. But to me, the bike's not period correct on anything because, it's like I said, they're not really copying anything here. It's just kind of designed kind of in that old school flavor. So it's not really a replica of anything. So I wasn't worried about being like period correct on it. But I just think the perforated one that Motocult does looks better, in my opinion. I just happen to like it better. And the Janus one is equally flared above and below the center line of the exhaust, where the Motocult one's kind of flat on the bottom and comes up like a shark fin. It's just, different looks. Depends on what you like. But I believe they have them raw at Motocult. And when you order one, then they apply the finish, whether you want brushed or polished. And so that takes a little bit of time. So hopefully I get that fairly soon. And I do need to take this out for a ride today because I made a carburetor adjustment. I lowered the clip on the needle in the carburetor. So hopefully that and a larger pilot jet. Hopefully the combination of those two things will get rid of my little stumble that I have. I've got like a spot in my throttle range where I have a little bit of a stumble. So I'm trying to kind of chase that a little bit. Oh, the joys of carbureted machines. The GT is actually much bigger than the Halcyon. That's one thing I noticed. Because every time I get on this thing feels gigantic every time I get on it after I've been on this. And they look about the same height, but that's due to the center stands on each bike. The center stand on the Halcyon raises the bike up a lot higher. So it's kind of an optical illusion going on here. I'll get a shot of them on their side stand so you guys can see that. And like I said, this center stand is a bit of a prototype center / service stand is what they've done here. And the production models won't be as high as mine. But I do like mine being as high as it is because that gives me more access to get things, tires in and out, compared to this one on its center stand. It's a nightmare even to get that tire out of there. Trust me, I know. So that should wrap things up. I don't think I have anything else to say as far as both of these go. Like I said, this one's perfect. Nothing going on wrong there. One thing I did notice is the Halcyon also has stainless steel spokes, just like the GT does. So that is nice, because that's like one thing I did not like about the Royal Enfield Classic 350. All the 300s or 350s, if I'm not mistaken, come with just plain steel spokes, so they will corrode over time, where both of these have the stainless spokes, so I don't have to worry about that. So other than that, I think you're all caught up. So I don't know if I'll do another video until I get the seat and the fishtail on. Like I said, I need to take this out on a camping trip, but I was cut off. I couldn't go because of that oil leak. So I had to scrap that and get in there and dig around. And I'm not going to push it too hard until I get the proper valve cover gasket. So like I said, I've kind of bodged it right now to hold oil. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of pressure on this. I've done the first, like I said, valve change and oil change now, or oil change and valve adjustment now. Oh, and that valve adjustment was such a breeze. Like I said, it's so nice to be able to get to everything and just not have to worry about taking off the fuel tank or anything like that, trying to get your hands up in there. Everything's just right there. It was great. I really, really appreciate that. So much easier maintenance on this. Even washing these two, I noticed that there's a lot more nooks and crannies and places I can't really get my hand up into on this bike, where on this one I can just get in there and get to everything. Because price and power wise, I do compare these to the Vespa Primavera 150 a lot, because they are right about the same power level, and the Primavera is about $1,000 less than this. But holy crap, am I never sticking my hands up into the engine bay of a scooter ever again. Done. I'm not doing that no more. I want this. So yeah, I'll pay the $1,000 extra for this than to make it easier to work on. And actually buying it used, it was less than $1,000 bucks. So good to go. The Super Patriot bags fit really well, and they mounted up exactly in the same spot the factory bags did, so no problems there. They cleared the pipe. And that was why I was holding off on the fishtail, because I wanted to see if there was enough room for the fishtail on the pipe with the Super Patriots on. So they did have enough room, so I went ahead and ordered that. So that is coming, which is great because those Super Patriots, those hold 30 liters each. So that's 60 liters of side bag capacity compared to like 12. With the racer bags on the Continental GT, I've got 30, so I've got double the capacity, plus that 30-liter tail bag. That's 90 liters of capacity. That's more than what I had on my Himalayan. I mean, that's a lot. So yeah, I look forward to camping trips on this thing. Gravel, I don't know how much I'm going to do. I've tested it down gravel, and I'll tell you right now, It rides exactly like you would expect a beach cruiser bicycle to handle in gravel. It almost feels a little bit light on the front end. Like I said, the bike's kind of an optical illusion. The weight is to the rear. When you're sitting on the seat, the weight is more rearward, and you can feel the lightness in the front end on gravel. It kind of wants to wash out a little bit, so you got to take it slow. And no anti-lock brakes, so yes, you can lock up the front wheel under braking on gravel pretty easily. Ask me how I know that. But I haven't dumped it or anything like that. I've just been experimenting, seeing what works and what doesn't. You know, what it's going to be good for, what it's not. So these two probably about equal on gravel. This one too much weight on the front, this one too much weight on the rear. It's not like a dual sport or an adventure bike where you get to kind of maneuver around. You're kind of almost locked into one position or the other on each of these bikes. Standing on the pegs on this, it almost puts the handlebars, since they're like this, when you stand on the pegs, it's almost like they're right here. So it's kind of awkward. So you don't want to do a lot of standing. So you have to go slow with that sprung seat. And since your bags and things are unsprung, you want to be careful of what kind of vibration and just bouncing around you're going to let those do. So slow down is basically the thing with both of these on gravel. I just have to back off and take things a lot slower than I did with like the Himalayan. But I had the same issue with like the Super Cub and even the Monkey. You know, I had to kind of watch the weight distribution on those bikes as well. So just a quick update, cleaning day, taking care of business here and getting everything up and running. Hopefully we'll get a camping trip in on this before snow hits. So like I said, got a sunny day. Figured I'd take care of business here and keep everything maintained. Catch you guys next time.